we're always ready and we're never ready. If you don't know where you want to go in your life, if you don't know what you want, because a lot of people don't know what they want. We never learn in school how to be in relationship with ourselves. We never learn how to be in relationship with a partner or with money. We just take for granted that those are things that we should know, but we don't. When I work with men sometimes, they kind of want to show me that they've got it together, but they know they kind of need to work on something. I always say to them, how's your sex life? And everything falls apart.
I felt grateful and I felt love for everything that I have achieved, for everyone I have in my life around me. And I felt I saw things differently.
Yeah.
I went home and I said to everyone, I have to give you all a hug. And I was really quite emotional.
Meditation is a mental rehearsal. Because when you close your eyes, your internal world becomes bigger than the external world. And in the internal world, you are infinite. And you've got massive resources that you never access because you're constantly analyzing yourself when your eyes are open.
I'm Lisa Hugo, and I am obsessed with helping other people find their voices so they can go out and take on the world, be seen as an authority, an expert, and grow their business by sharing that knowledge and expertise with others. Now, I studied performing arts and I spent 20 years of my career traveling the world as a professional singer-songwriter. I teach you the secrets to speak up and be heard, overcome your fears, and then use these skills to build a business and a life that you love and that could change both your own life and the lives of others. This is your one-stop shop for all things that are going to help you to build a life on your terms. This is Impact Through Voice. Welcome back to the Impact Through Voice podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hugo, and I'm back in the studio today, and I'm sitting with Anna Wallenten. Anna is a peak performance coach. She is a success strategist, and I'm going to let her share all it is that she does. I'm very excited to have her on the show, so a very warm welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate being here.
I'm so glad that you've come along and you're going to share with us. I reached out to you because I'd seen you on Instagram.
Yeah.
You come up in my feed and I was very inspired by your content. And this podcast is all about people who are sharing their voices and inspiring other people to make a change and a difference in their own lives, or maybe even in their own lives and the lives of others. So that is what encouraged me to get you on the show, because you're doing exactly that. But if you had to describe what it is that you do in a few sentences, what is it?
Well, I would say that my passion for what I do started when I was basically born. And then I have done a lot of studies and sort of modified myself through the years. But what I've done now, I've been working as a success strategist for the last 18 years now. And I identified through all the work that I did that there's three pillars that we have pain in. It's the relationship with ourselves. It's the intimate relationship that we have in the area of love. And then it's the relationship that we have with money. So those are the three pillars that I help my clients to basically unlock, because we all have fears around those areas. And if you can unlock yourself and work on your fears around those areas, then you become absolutely unstoppable in any area in your life.
I would agree. You know, in coaching, they talk about you've got three key areas that you could fall under if you are a coach. There is financial, there's money, there's relationships, and then there is, what's the third one? Health and wellness. And it all fits together as well with what you're doing, right?
Yeah. And it's 100% the three pillars where we have the most pain, because we never learn in school how to be in relationship with ourselves. We never learn how to be in relationship with a partner or with money. We just take for granted that those are things that we should know, but we don't.
You didn't always fall into doing this as your career. And I discovered that you studied music, you studied singing, and I felt, oh my gosh, there's such a synergy with that. So you studied jazz, you studied jazz performance.
Yeah.
Share more about that, because I have such a connection with that side of you.
My singing my singing sort of career, let's say, has been, my whole family is musical.
Same.
So see, there's so many connections here. My dad plays the piano. We've always been singing. As for kids, we did small musicals when we were kids. So it was almost like the Fun Trap family kind of scenario. So it's always been part of my life. And when we came back from Kuwait, because we used to live in Kuwait, I came back to Sweden from Kuwait, and I couldn't start any kind of studies because I didn't have the right qualifications to get into school.
Oh, right.
And we came back from Kuwait because of the Gulf War was approaching, and my father was then later hostage also in Baghdad.
Oh.
So this was quite dramatic time, and the only thing that I kind of had was my music. So I got into school by basically playing and singing my way into music school. And that's where it started.
Amazing.
And I was 15 years old.
And did you learn singing then growing up? Or you said you also play piano. Is that part of something that you did from a very young age?
Yeah. We've always been singing in harmonies in my family, in the car, you know.
Love that.
It's like one of those things.
Yeah.
And I played the piano, and then I got in also. I'm also been doing dancing and things like that. So I got in and started studying music and doing also performing sort of theater work. And I did a lot of theater work in Kuwait. So singing in musicals. I was part of the Kuwait performance art kind of group. So I've always done those, you know, like Peter Pan's or, you know, whatever, all of those Cinderella, those kind of plays and things like that.
Interesting. I find it interesting how our upbringing then really brings out these aspects of us. Yeah. We are influenced by what we're surrounded by. So if you're surrounded by music as you're growing up, then it becomes a part of you. And I also grew up in a very musical family. Everyone played, and we mostly were musical through the church. So every Sunday was our family church day, but my parents were in the Salvation Army. I don't know if you are aware of the Salvation Army.
Yeah,
and so my father was the band leader, my mother was the timbrel leader. And and that's how they came together. And it was all just music. All of my brothers played brass instruments, and we would also sing in harmonies and have the family band. And yeah, it was a great time of life to have that influence growing up. But I'm the only one who decided to take it professionally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the same in my family as well. I was the only one that studied music after that.
Right, yeah.
But I always knew that music is one way to express emotions. And for me, it was on a deeper kind of level. I love singing jazz. My voice suits jazz very well. So when you said that you sing jazz, I'm really excited because I never meet people that even like jazz, you know?
True.
And the old traditional jazz, I love it.
Right, yeah. So more of the crooner style jazz music.
Yeah. The falling leaves and all that kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Love that.
That stuff. So I started also doing then expressional dance, or we call modern dance, as almost like an extension of expressing emotions. So it's always been a connection between heart and mind for me. And music has been that. Dance has been that. It's a way to express myself physically through the emotions as well. So that's what I find fascinating with that kind of, that creative scene.
Beautiful. And you went on to also do some studies in communication coaching, am I right?
So I did music. The first story here is I studied music, and then I went on to college, and then went on to university. When I was in my second year of university, my father happened to end up in a very bad situation in Dubai. And so he was actually he was imprisoned here in Dubai.
Oh, wow.
And it was a pretty bad situation, which was, I guess, coming from a place of maybe being a little bit naive and believing that, you know, he was born in the 30s, and it was the time when he used to say, Anna, a handshake is enough, you know, a handshake is good enough. And I guess maybe he came across people where, I guess he was taking advantage, let's just say that. Yeah. So I decided to quit my studies and come down and try and get him out of prison, basically. That's what happened.
Wow.
And I got myself a suit. I moved in with my friend. And then I went around to the companies that he owed money. And I basically... I basically worked my Anna magic, and my sister came down to help me, and together we managed to get him out.
Oh, that's great. Because it was a very different time back then.
It was such a different time. It was very different. The laws were different. It was quite intense. This was in 1998. 1998.
Rare. I mean, we came in 2007 and it was a different place even then. It has progressed so much, and you've experienced that. You've been here now for how many years?
Oh, well,
my
mom and
math is
dad came
terrible.
here in 92, so it's been on and off for 33
That's
years
amazing.
almost.
Yeah. What is it that draws you to stay here?
Oh, wow. Easy. It's the one thing that makes me love this place the most is the feeling of freedom that I have when I'm in this country. It's the way that the visionaries of this country has this sort of like non-negotiable, unstoppable kind of drive to like, this is what I want to create. I'm just going to make it happen. And that would never happen where I come from in Sweden, because there's so much red tape and there's so much bureaucracy and things like that. And I just love the way that I can feel so free here. It's multicultural. You meet people from everywhere. If you have a dream, nobody says it's weird. You just go for it. I love it.
It's interesting you say that, though, that you consider this is a place of freedom,
100%.
knowing the history that you went through with your father being imprisoned because of simple things which were misunderstood here.
Yeah.
And yet that's clear how far we've progressed then in this country to have that feeling that we are free here. We are safe here. It's an amazing place to live.
Yeah, I mean, even when my dad came out, he didn't leave. He stayed and he worked and paid back everyone, even though everything was closed and everything was. He just wanted to stay here. He loved this country, and so I just think things happen in life sometimes, but it's about how you handle it and how you navigate it.
And that's something I found very fascinating following you as well and meeting you for the first time in person on Saturday is you have an incredible energy. You have an aura about you and everything feels very positive when we're around you. You radiate energy and optimism and positivity. I love that. So how do you manage that? How do you get out of bed every morning and have that feeling everything is great?
Yeah, it's a good question, Lisa, because I sometimes get actually commented on that, like, well, things are easy for you, Anna, because you're always happy. And it's kind of saying to somebody who is, in good shape, it's easy for you because you're in good shape. It's like, well, we get there by doing some type of work.
That's right.
I was blessed to have a family where we always looked at life from what's good about life. But that doesn't mean that I dismiss things that come my way. It just means that I make a conscious choice every day to program myself. It's all in the programs that you download, basically, by practice and by living it. And that's how you live your life. It's all up to what programs are in your mind and in your heart. And I make sure that I program myself every day to show up the person I want to be. I never take it for granted.
Yeah. So it's mindset, but it's also attitude, and they're quite different. So mindset is how we think about things, but attitude is how you show up, how you approach. I was talking with somebody last week and she was telling us about this. She's written a book and she does presentations on attitude, and she challenged us to come up with what the difference between mindset and attitude. And I've been thinking a lot about this ever since that and ever since the workshop that I did with you last Saturday, which I'd love to share a little bit more about as well.
Yeah, for sure.
You invited me to come along to a workshop that you were holding, and the title of that workshop was I Am Greatness. Yeah. And in those 3 hours, I had no idea what to expect. But
courageous of you to come.
And I'm going to say I'm a bit skeptical about, not skeptical, but I didn't know what to expect. And so hesitant perhaps is a better word, to face these sorts of things. And it is confronting when you ask us to, remember things from our childhood or challenge ourselves about our own thinking. And that was quite confronting and difficult for everyone in the room.
Yes.
That was interesting as well. Yes. To be able to answer those questions that you threw at us. And then at the end of that workshop, you took us into a meditation, which was, for me, very moving.
Yeah.
And very inspirational. And I would say life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof, I just got goosebumps now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meditations are powerful.
Is this something you do every day?
Yes. Yes. And I do it with my clients as well on my one-on-one sessions. Mm-hmm. I take them through meditations. I do meditations and I do it with my husband in the morning. I do it during the day and I do it in the evening. And meditation sometimes has a bad rep of being sort of fluffy, like, oh, I'm just going to relax and put on some incense and,
Yeah.
Meditation is a mental rehearsal because when you close your eyes, your internal world becomes bigger than the external world. And in the internal world, when you bypass that analytical mind that we talked about, the analytical mind, you are infinite. And you've got massive resources that you never access because you're constantly analyzing yourself when your eyes are open. So, and the coolest thing is that the brain doesn't know the difference between what's in your head and what's real.
I experienced that.
Tell me more about that.
Well, you had us visualizing things which were going to happen in the future, and you could literally feel that you were in that place.
Yes.
You could feel the energy of being already in the future, in something that you desired to be, a state of I don't know what the words are that I'm looking for. This is
It was wonderful to watch you when you came out of it because you came up to me and I remember this and I remember how your face looked and you said, I've got so much love. I just feel so in love and feel so grateful.
I did. I felt grateful and I felt love for everything that I have achieved, for everyone I have in my life around me. And I felt I saw things differently.
Yeah.
I went home and I said to everyone, I have to give you all a hug. And I was really quite emotional.
I'm so happy you did that because you know what? When we do those visualizations, something fundamentally inside of us, like on a cellular level, actually shifts. We actually transform and we do. And so if we can keep connecting with that space and then eventually we become transitioned into a different kind of experience of our life, and then we can take that with our eyes open into the world, your life will change forever.
So I can see this is something you have to do on a more regular basis. To do this experience once, you could easily say, okay, that was amazing, but then 2 days later, you're back into your old habits. You're thinking about things the same way. You're allowing your own thoughts to interfere with your ability to succeed.
Yeah, and that's because you're human, because we are a program. That's what we are.
And we're so influenced by the things which are going on around us as well. So not just ourselves, but the people in our lives and the way they show up have such a massive influence on how we, I guess, program ourselves or allow other people to start programming us is perhaps a better way of expressing it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of fear in transforming your identity because all of a sudden, if I transform my identity, how am I going to now fit into my world? Does that mean I have to change my friends? Does that mean I have to confront my parents? I mean, there's a lot of fear that makes people, it's safer to stay as I am, even though I'm not happy, than to do the work because it can be very confronting, like you said.
It's so interesting that you bring this up because I relate this also to the people that I work with who are wanting to become more confident speakers, more effective communicators. But there's always this underlying fear, but that's not natural, that's not me, and I'm not being authentic, or I'm afraid to step outside my comfort zone and experience something new because it doesn't feel like me. And it doesn't feel like them because they've never done it. And once they do it, suddenly they experience something new that becomes a new authentic them. And I can see such a synergy in the work that you do on the level of performance to the level of the work that I do in confident speaking.
And it's so true because it's scary to become something that I've never been. But then we would like to have a different life, which we can never become if we don't become a different individual. So it's like we're trying to change our life with the old identity and it doesn't work.
Do you find resistance with some people? They're just not prepared to do the work or get uncomfortable?
Yes. And also I've done this for so long that the people that navigate to me now are people that are quite courageous because I'm very firm in my sessions and I hold you accountable. I really do.
Which is important.
Yeah.
having an accountability partner.
Yeah. So if you're going to work with me, you're going to be held accountable, but you make massive changes. And I also get the honor of working with people from a lot of different cultures. I work with a lot of people from this region, who are from this region, which I'm very blessed over. And I get to work with every type of character there is out there. And I love how you can get a person into the room and, for example, allow them to get a man into the room and allow them to connect with their masculinity. And all of a sudden something shifts in them completely. And all the areas of their lives start to elevate. Because I think specifically with the masculine, which I find very fascinating, is some people have this kind of idea that masculinity is either, you know, the kind of military manager kind of Thai man, or you have a weakness. But when you empower the vulnerability, the peaceful, powerful, silent kind of masculine part of them, they just take their life to the next level. It's the same with femininity in women, but I just find it really fascinating to go into that place.
So tell me more about this kind of scenario where you're getting somebody into the room to discover their masculinity. Explain it to me more.
So, for example, I take people through, just this week, I took a man who's very, very, very masculine and very, probably hasn't done a lot of the work that I'm introducing him to. Took him through a meditation where he got to connect with his little man and his future avatar, which I call the avatar. And he created this trio, like a triad of 3 flavors of himself in his life. And he said to me, now that I walk in somewhere, I feel like I'm part of a crew. Like I got my guys with me.
Okay.
And it's just so beautiful. And I did that by taking him through a visualization with a closed eye process. And I have this strategy that I've created where I think masculine and femininity are like, I see them as lines. Like a line of blue and then a line of pink. And you've got the light pink, which is that little, for example, with the femininity, the soft, sweet kind of feminine part of you. And then you've got the hot pink part, which is that person that goes in and like holds her space. And same with the masculine. And then I help them to dance the full spectra of their masculine kind of energy, if you know what I mean. And I find that so liberating for people, because it's so easy to say, oh, if I do that, that's not me.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just a part of you that you have never discovered yet.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that's so true.
If you are courageous enough to talk about it, I talk about relationship, I talk about intimacy, I talk about sex with my clients. Oh, what a hot topic.
Yeah.
But what an important topic that nobody talks about.
How does somebody find you or decide or realize that they need your help and then come across you?
I get a lot of people now through recommendations because I've done this for so long. And I do a lot of, I have an online academy that I run. So I've got an 8-week online academy that's international. So I've got people around the world that's doing that. They go through different modules. And so somebody might have done my academy and then they think, oh, I think I need a little bit more one-on-one. A lot of people are recommendations, or they see me social media, and I also do a lot of these things like workshops and I do also retreats. So my next retreat is going to be in Bali, 2026.
Oh, nice.
If you want to come.
Okay.
So I guess it's just, I've just been very blessed to, but I've done a lot of hard work to get here.
Yes.
This is what I also want people to understand when you're kind of new, because I've done quite excessive studies in the field to get to where I am. I did my music degree, but then I also did a degree in international communications.
Yes.
Then I studied coaching for 3 years, individual, couple coaching, group coaching, and also I did 1 year of a leadership study. So I've done a lot of studies because I wanted to be certified. I wanted to be, legit in this industry. And then I've worked really, really hard to create what I am. It's taken me since 2007 when I started with this.
Right.
So it takes time.
Yeah.
So I've been patient and I've believed in my goal, And
having a dream, having a goal and
so
working
important.
towards that. Yeah. Something that you can see. And then obviously all the work that you do then just gets you on the right path all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always been my most important thing with everything that I do is I need to be authentic with the work that I do. I would never be one of those people that became what I do because I secretly want to kind of fix myself, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I've done all the tools I take my clients through. I do all of the rituals that I design for them. Everything I do myself.
Yep. You walk the talk.
I would never be, because otherwise it would make me a complete fraud. I couldn't do that.
When I'm working with clients, storytelling is a big aspect of that.
Yeah.
And being able to tap into parts of your life which had a specific moment, a challenge or a pivotal moment or just a journey that you've been on. So if I asked you to come up with a story, let's say you're my client and I want you to find a moment that has been transformational for you, is there something that you could tap into?
100%.
Want to share?
There's a few stories that come up, but I think the one story that I still go back to when I do my visualizations and I celebrate that girl was when I was 15. I'd just come back from Kuwait. I was very naive, I grew up in Kuwait. It's a sheltered environment. I was thrown into Sweden, which is quite a harsh area. I was bullied a lot, and I was thrown into a situation in a city that was very harsh. And I didn't have any money, so I needed to make money. So me and my friends went away for a strawberry picking trip in the summer. We were 3 girls, 15 years old, and I really wanted to buy a bike. And I thought, I'm going to work my ass off literally, and I'm going to buy a bike. That was my goal for that summer, because I needed a bike to get around. We lived in a tent. We got up at 3:00 in the morning, and we jumped on the back of these trucks to go and pick strawberries. It rained all summer.
Whereabouts, in what country were
This
you?
was in Sweden.
In Sweden, okay.
It rained all summer, and then we got to know this group of boys that lived in the village. And I have an extremely strong connection with my internal spirit. And I've realized that before, but this was one of those moments where it was just, I came face to face with it. Because these boys never resonated. There was just something that wasn't resonating with me. It was just something that was off. And then one night we went to the beach and we were going to have a barbecue, and my whole body just resisted this. And we walked 5 kilometers through the forest to get to this beach. And my body was resisting it so much. I was feeling nauseous. I felt so sick being there. I just didn't know what it was. And the girls, they were having fun, and the boys started to make drinks for the girls, and it was 96% alcohol that they had mixed themselves.
How old were you again?
15.
Oh.
I didn't drink anything, but the girls did. And this feeling just got stronger and stronger. And I just had this voice inside me, you got to get out.
Yeah.
And like now I feel so much goosebumps when I think about this. You have to get out. So I stood up in the middle of this party and I said, I'm out. See ya. And I got bullied so bad. You're such a loser. Oh my God, you're pathetic, and da-da-da.
Peer pressure.
And it was huge, and it was dark outside, and I knew I had to walk through the forest 5 kilometers. I thought walking through the forest alone is better than staying here. So I just turned around. I said, I don't care what you say, I'm just walking. And I walked, and one of the girls came after me, and she was crying. She said, take me with you. I don't want to be here. I said, come.
Yeah.
You can come with me. She said, oh, but what are they going to think? They're going to think I'm not good enough. I'm not this and that. And I said, I don't care. Come with me. I'm pathetic. Come with me. She didn't come. And I went back to the tent. And then I woke up the next morning, and both those girls had been gang raped.
Holy moly.
And they lost their virginity that night.
Wow.
And it's when I think about it, I feel so much love and compassion, and I feel so proud of that 15-year-old.
Yes.
I mean, that was me.
Yeah.
And she's with me all the time.
Okay.
I see her when I close my eyes. I'm there, and I just send her so much, gratitude.
And it's such a lesson to, not be worried about what other people think, but to follow your instinct, believe in what's right, and take care of yourself above anybody else.
And it was powerful. It made me realize, oh my God, I'm actually really powerful.
I've heard you tell that story before as well. I think you shared that on one of your socials one day, and I found it very moving. In fact, I think hearing that story was one of the moment that I said I need to reach out to Anna, because I found that so powerful. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
It's very moving.
When you're that age, you don't really think, you're just 15. What do you do?
I have 2 teenage girls.
Yeah.
And hearing that just really wrenched at my heart. Yeah.
There was something greater inside of me that spoke that night.
Yeah. And that greatness has just worked through you throughout your entire life.
Yeah. And I think the driving force for me is if I can get people, because I've had this obsession with helping people to like step into something greater, like not to waste their life. Like there's something bigger out there. There's something more. And I think that's my biggest driving force to what I do is just I want people to feel their life.
I think there are many people or a large percentage of the population who are not ready or they're not there or don't understand the power of this kind of work.
Oh, absolutely. Most people don't. It's not that they don't understand. It's that they're too afraid. And I say we're always ready and we're never ready.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people don't even think about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because we don't think about anything until something happens in our life and there's pain. And then we realize it's like anything.
You mentioned that on Saturday.
Yeah.
I found that very, very moving, that you wait until you know you've got to do something about it. You know something, isn't right in your life, but you keep doing it. You keep doing that habit, but it's not until it's a life-changing situation or, it's everything is on the line as to whether or not you make a change that you start to think about, okay, now I have to do something about it. And you will actually go and take action.
Absolutely. I mean, that's when I talked about the cohesiveness between the heart and the mind.
Yeah.
It's when we get a thought and a feeling that connects, because most people operate from just logic thinking. And then they might have a gut feeling and they go, no, I'm just going to put that over there. But when we have that aha moment, oh my God, I have so much pain, and there's a painful thought and a painful moment in my heart, then we take action.
How does this relate to your fitness journey?
Oh my goodness. My fitness journey has been, fitness has been part of my life my whole life.
I mean, we're looking at her here. She's incredibly well in shape. Puts us all to shame.
My fitness journey is an expression of self-love, and it has always been. And I work a lot with my clients as well on their relationship with their bodies. Anything from like when you're in the shower, pay attention to how you put, you should put soap on and give your body love. It might sound a bit weird, but my relationship with my body is so essential. So I'm doing this work with my body because I just want my body to get what it deserves. What I think. I just want to honor my body. In my entire life, I have been doing some sort of fitness. I got into powerlifting when I met my husband, but I was a veteran in the industry when I became a powerlifter. I was in my 40s. When I started competing for Sweden as a lifter of the Swedish team. So that was a different type of training. But I've done group exercise. I've been an instructor I retired after 33 years as a fitness instructor.
Yep.
And I think it's also it's that whole thing of like feeling something and expressing it with the body, connected to, you can relate to that, the whole music and body. And
very much so.
It's part of that. Like finding joy in movement. There's just something about that.
That was always an area that I thought if I wanted to do something different, then I would go more into the fitness coaching because it had such a connection to the music, the dance, and moving your body. And that was what I also experienced and grew up with. And it was a big part of my career. And as a singer, you have to be able to move. I would always go for auditions. I wouldn't go for the dancer auditions, but the singers had to then do a dance audition. Yeah. Because you had to prove that you were very good at movement.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Because it's all connected, right?
Yeah.
It's all connected.
I remember going for Starlight Express once on roller skates. Now, that was one of the most memorable and hilarious and fun auditions I think I've ever been to, where the entire room are trying to roll around the room on roller skates and do these movements.
Oh my goodness.
People were falling over flat on their faces. Some had come in inline skates where you don't have the stops, and part of the dance routines where you had to jump up on the stops of your roller skates.
Oh, wow. That's so advanced.
People were tripping. It was hilarious. This is one of my happy memories.
It's one of those that you can write down as your like a magic moment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah. But fitness is a journey that I'm on now because, I've always been on that journey, but now coming into this stage of life, you're realizing that it's not how it used to be, as in going and doing cardio and loving the classes. And I would do 3 or 4 classes back to back. And now I'm realizing, and I'm working with a personal trainer, that it's all about building muscle.
Yeah, it's all about building
and
muscle.
longevity in your body.
And I'm so glad that you're saying that, because building muscle is people still think it's about looking good or, having a six pack or whatever. But building muscle is it's the organ of longevity, and we need it for everything. And also when we get older, of course, when joints start to we have troubles with joints or balance or whatever, having muscle will help you to do the things that you want to do for a longer period of time. And I think, because this year I'm 53, I think actually now what I celebrate so much with getting older, which I love, is I get to walk in front, you know what I mean? And I get to say, look, I'm going to stay in the best shape of my life so that I can show also that it's possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not because I want to show off, but I want people to understand that, there's an amazing woman who's written a book called Forever Strong, Dr. Leon. She's a doctor. She says that aging is actually a disease, which is true, because we don't have to age like the traditional kind of aging.
Right.
And we want to lengthen our lifespan, and our health span, how long we're healthy.
Yes.
Not just how long we live.
Yeah.
But we're crippled, you know what I mean?
My mum's been my inspiration in this as well, because my mum is 85.
Oh, same as mine.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And she has always been, throughout her older years, part of the veterans athletics, the Masters Games, doing discus, javelin throwing, not running anymore because it's too much on her joints, but she does the proper athletic walking.
Wow.
And so she just inspires me. And not only that, she sings in choirs, she's in bands, and she just keeps herself going. And it's so important for her, for both mentally, socially, and physically. And I think that's why she's still, I could never get her on the phone. She's always busy at some rehearsal or some event with people. So that's an inspiration to me. She's been an inspiration all my life.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Like how she's an inspiration for you, and now you become an inspiration for your kids. It's like I get to be an inspiration for the next generation.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And the mindset thing that she's keeping her mind awake, and she's, it has a huge impact on your physical body.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Huge.
Yep. And the social aspect.
Absolutely.
That you have to be out amongst people. Otherwise, when you're only in your own thoughts, it can't be healthy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
As we get older.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm glad you said that, the building of the muscle. So I'm on the right track.
Yes.
and tracking macros and all of those
get
things.
your proteins in
Yes.
and lift weights.
Yes.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no fluffy kind of thing. People think maybe there could be a quick fix, or it's just some sort of diet or whatever. And it's like, just eat less calories, lift weights, but focus on protein, and then just be patient.
Do you have any tips for getting the metabolism back up? I know this is a bit off track, but hey, you're sharing your voice to help me.
Yeah.
And anybody else who's listening who is in my state.
See, the metabolism does decrease, of course, with, with age. I would say when you get older, depending on what kind of metabolism you do have, but it's important to maybe realize that, like, changing the way that the macros are built and what kind of calories counting the calories is very important, and it's essential, because you need to understand what are you eating? Do you know what I mean? What are you how does your macros kind of balance? Is it how much proteins are you having? How much carbs are you having? How much fats are you having? But to increase your metabolism, I would just say do a good amount of lifting weights, getting cardio in, and then doing some sort of like mobility training, balance training, and then eating, calories that are, so you don't eat more calories than you use. Basically, that's it.
So basically, we have to be in a calorie deficit.
Yeah, we have to be in a calorie deficit.
If you're wanting to lose weight. But if you're wanting to maintain and just build your muscle.
I would say focus on getting a high amount of proteins in, and with lifting weights. I mean, depending on who you are, but I would say at least 4 days a week, I would say.
Yeah.
I do 5 days a week.
Tell us about your routine.
My routine: get up every day at 4:30 in the morning. My husband and I do morning meditations for about 30 minutes, visualizing the future, gratitude meditations. Then I say, today's going to be the best day of our life. And then I have this little thing that I say, and he's like, yep, let's go get it. He pulls my toes in the morning. It's a ritual that we do. It gives us joy. Then we get ready. We go to the gym. My husband owns a powerlifting club in Dubai. So I go there and I train. And then I train 1.5 hour weights, and then I do 1 hour cardio.
Wow. So 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Multiple days a week.
Yeah, I do that. 6 days, 5 days a week I'm there. On the 6th day, I do cardio on the beach. So I do beach cardio. And then on the 7th day is my rest day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, then into your coaching and your training.
Then I go, and then I have a morning ritual when I get back. So I put on abundance frequency music, high vibrational music. I do my gratitude journaling, and I do my set up my day so I know what I'm doing for the day. I think about some magic moments that I've gone through, and I write down what's been the highlights of the week or something like that, or of the day before. So I do a little bit of a ritual like that.
So you have a very, let's call it, regimented routine that you follow.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know how the brain works, and I know that, then I do priming before my clients so that I get into my peak performance mindset state so I can give them everything I've got.
Yeah.
And then between my sessions, I cut my cords so that I'm not attached to whatever went through in their life. So I never get drained when I have my clients.
Oh my gosh, we've got so much to learn from you, Anna. Okay, if somebody wants to work with you, how do they get in touch with you?
I would say find me on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook or something like that. And I also have a website, annawallenten.com. There I've got all of my online courses that I do. I've got my Life Transformational Academy, and I've got Master Money, Sex, and Love, which is a 21-day challenge, which is also an interesting one.
Yeah, so sounds very interesting.
It's Master Money, Sex, and Love. I mean, that's it. What else do we need?
You're doing a workshop. Is it based on that topic in May?
Yeah, 18th of May. I'm running my second workshop. That's kind of like the second edition of this, or the next edition of the one that I did with you.
Right.
That one will focus on relationships, because it's a very important topic. Relationships, masculinity, femininity. I also go through relationship with money mindset, how to master your mindset game around money.
So a lot of us have limiting beliefs or just hang-ups about all of these areas.
Everybody has it. Yeah. Everybody has pain in the area of love and money. And it's funny, I'll just, as a funny thing, but when I work with sort of like men sometimes, if I have a hard time, you ask me, like, do people open up and things like that? And they come on my call and they kind of want to show me that they've got it together, but they know they kind of need to work on something. So they'll be like, yeah, so in my career, blah, 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 blah. I always say to them, how's your sex life? And everything falls apart. No, because I know they're coming to me for a reason. And I know that you're probably overcompensating somewhere, because actually inside, in your sex life, you might be 5 years old and be afraid. You know what I mean? Because you have pain there. So many people have pain. Maybe not from things that happen in their life, but maybe watching their parents not be in love or not being able to express themselves or whatever. So
it's a difficult topic, I can imagine.
It's a fun topic.
Yeah. Okay, I think I need to come to your next workshop.
Yes, you do. You definitely do. Yeah.
Okay, Anna, I got one more thing for you before we wrap up, because you're very much out on social media. You're building your own personal brand, and you say people find you through word of mouth, or they find you because you're out on social. I found you because you're on social. So, this is a big one for me, is encouraging people to put themselves out there, to be somewhere where they're going to be seen, to voice their ideas, their opinions, and not be afraid of what people are going to think, because you're always going to have people that will agree or disagree, and that's part of the fun in a way. If somebody comes to you and they've got limiting beliefs about that, how are you going to give them some coaching?
So if people have limiting beliefs about putting themselves out on social media, is that,
just being out there and believing that their voice is important, their message is important, they have value to share, they have a gift.
I would definitely start off by, the way I would coach a person like that is I would go back and see, where does that belief come from?
Okay.
We got to figure out where it's come from. It's come from somewhere.
Right.
And it can be something small, like your teacher tells you you're too loud. I was told I was too loud all the time.
Yep.
Anna, you're too much. You're too much. Okay.
Yep. Well, be quiet. Be quiet. We don't want to hear your voice right now.
Shh.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it comes from there. And so I would go back there. I would take my client 100% through visualization, where I would connect them with themselves as a little child. And I also help them to build their avatar. That's one of my favorite tools that I use. And it's a very fun process. I mean, you got a small taste of it, but I spend a lot of time on really, really designing your avatar. Because if you don't know where you want to go in your life, if you don't know what you want, because a lot of people don't know what they want, you always know who you want to be if you really awaken that part. And once I've done the connection with your inner child or your little person, depending on which age, and you kind of envelope that person and fall in love with that person, I take you to a journey on now what's possible if I could be everything I ever wanted to be. And then I implement strategies. You have to, put yourself out there. I encourage people by being quite, to become better at something, you need to do something.
Yes.
It's not just about telling yourself I'm amazing. I have to literally do it.
Yep.
So I give homeworks that are quite bold like
that. Got
to
put the work in.
Do it.
Yeah.
But then I'm also always available for my clients. So I have like an open WhatsApp where they can always write to me anytime, 24 hours a day. And I am very good at having, limiting myself of getting dragged into people's sort of messages. So I have a strategy for that. So I'm never overwhelmed by clients texting me. But I want them to feel like, okay, I have this presentation now and I'm feeling scared. Give me a tip. What should I do?
Okay.
I can coach them in the moment,
Yep.
So
yeah. I think there's a lot of synergy here. Yes.
Tell
well,
me.
No. I can just see potential for collaborations in the future where I have clients who are struggling with this kind of work and I can help by referring them across. So
we could definitely do a lot of collab, you and I. And I think we're such similar souls as well with our musical background and our, wow.
All right.
And our music background. Yeah. And fantastic.
Well, I've absolutely loved having you on the show. I'm going to put all the links to any of your courses, to your Instagram and everything into the show notes so people can find. But just tell us your Instagram handle now.
Anna Wallenten. That's it.
That's it.
Anna Wallenten. It's simple and easy.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Oh, Anna, thank you so much for coming on and sharing.
Lisa, it's been an honor. I'm so grateful that you reached out to me. And, I love the fact that you did that because it's by doing things like this that we actually meet new people and explore new avenues. And look at this. This can be something fantastic.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Impact Through Voice podcast. Now, if you've reached the end of this episode, then it means you're enjoying the podcast. So I have a quick favor to ask. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do it now and even leave us a review because it really does help us so much to reach more people and impact more people. And I would be very, very grateful. Now, I love to read all of your comments about the show and what you're enjoying, what you would like to hear more of. So please take the time and go and do that now. When you do that, please take a screenshot and then tag me on Facebook or Instagram. That's Lisa Hugo Official. Now, I'm going to be sure to share your post and I'm also going to private DM you with a thank you. And it also means you won't miss an episode. And as a subscriber, then you're going to get access to more content that we don't even open up to everybody. So thanks again. And until next time, keep on working towards your goals and making a positive impact on the world with your voice.